In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Last week, for the Feast of the Holy Family, I spoke of God's open secret, his beloved Holy Family, which, although in some ways was in plain sight, was hidden because of the seeming mundaneness of it all. If you look at the contrast between the miracles that he worked publicly and those that he did not work in his family, it certainly seems to run counter to expectations. Consider that he multiplies bread for more than 5,000 people, but he allows his father Joseph to work in poverty, near destitution, to win his daily bread. He raises Lazarus from the dead, but he allows his own father Joseph to die at a seeming young age, because by the time our Lord is 30 years old, Joseph is past. The gospel last week was the finding in the temple, in which Our Lady asked our Lord, "Son, quid fecisti nobis? Why have you done this to us? Why have you done so?" Not that she's accusing him, but she's heartbroken. She wants to know why. Why he's allowed her and Joseph to suffer this anxiety. There must have been a reason, so she asks, "Why is it so?" He responds, "Did you not know I had to be about my Father's business?" And she takes all of these things and ponders them in her heart. Now fast forward. That was when our Lord was 12 years old. Now he is 30. He is about to begin his public ministry. This will be the first of the signs. Our Lady must have pondered long and deeply for these 18 years, because she seems to know what's coming. She says to our Lord, "They're lacking in wine." Now, presumably, our Lord has never multiplied or changed water into wine at home. And yet, for whatever reason, she knows that the hour is coming. And so she simply says to him, and surely she must know that he knows. He's divine. But she simply says, the wine has run out. He responds rather cryptically, "Woman, what is there between you and me?" Not a derogatory statement. In fact, it is a sign of respect. Remember, at the cross he will say, "Woman, behold your son. Son, behold your mother." His hour had not come, but at her instigation, or perhaps at her manifestation, now it has. It had not come, but then she sets things in motion. From that moment when she says, "The wine is lacking," now the hour has come. And I can only point out in very quick passing how every detail that happens at this wedding feast is laden with mystical significance. For example, the fact that throughout the Old Testament, throughout salvation history, the relationship of God and his people is often styled as one of a marriage between God and his people. The prophet Isaiah had said that as a young man marries a virgin, so your builder, your maker, will marry you. The prophet Hosea said that God will espouse you, his people, to himself in faith. And so our Lord, who is the fulfillment of all prophecy, who has come to fulfill everything that had been foretold, is it any accident that his very first public miracle is at a wedding? It is no accident. Furthermore, John, who often doesn't give us a lot of mundane details, tells us that there were these stone jars that were filled usque ad sumum. The exegetes tell us that our Lord made more than 100 gallons of wine. Cana is an exceedingly small town, more like a neighborhood. So put those things together. Small neighborhood, 100 gallons of wine. Not only is the wine usque ad sumum, but the grace that he is bringing is usque ad sumum. He has come to bring to fulfillment all the promises of old and to fulfill them exceedingly with the sweet wine of his divine grace. Furthermore, as the Fathers tell us, the changing of the water into wine also foreshadows the future miracle of the changing of wine into his blood, which is how we most fully participate or anticipate the marriage feast of heaven, by sharing in his body and blood. We could go on, but suffice to say that in salvation history, in the Scriptures, there is never a stone left unturned. There is never a detail that is superfluous. But I want to return for a moment to this contrast between the miracles that our Lord works for others, of which this is the first, providing in superabundance for all the wedding guests, and all the miracles that will follow, the exorcisms, the healings, the raising of the dead, the calming of the storm, all the things that will follow for the sake of others. These seem to be so scant in his own family. And I suggested that perhaps the closer we come to our Lord, the more we are intimated with his family, brought into his family, the less we will be beneficiaries of miracles, and the more we will be associates in his suffering for the sake of redemption. Let me say that one again. That the closer we come to our Lord, I think the less we will be beneficiaries of miracles, and the more we will be associates in his suffering. You see this in the life of the saints. The saints worked many miracles. Who were they for? Themselves? Countless times, thousands upon thousands of times in history, you see the saints working miracles, working cures for other people, while they themselves are constantly suffering. Ill health, sickness, tribulation, and all sorts of difficulties. Do you see a pattern here? And it seems to have been the same in his own holy family. That he didn't raise Joseph from the dead. He didn't spare Joseph having to eke out his daily bread. Not because he didn't love them, but precisely because they were the ones closest to him. And as he will tell his disciples, no man has a greater love than this, to pour out his life, to lay down his life for his friends. And what do those closest to our Lord do? What does his own family do? They carry their crosses too. They carry their crosses with our Lord. And that's what the disciples will do. They will go from being beneficiaries of miracles to working miracles and laying down their lives. I would like to conclude on this one comforting thought. I think one that is very fit for our new year. Notice the solicitude of Our Lady for everyone here, even for the simplest things. It's not like they're suffering famine. They've simply gone without the second course of wine. They've already drunk it all. And yet she says to our Lord, they have no more wine. If the solicitude of Our Lady is so great for these guests at the wedding feast, how great is her solicitude for her children, for you, for me? As we begin this new year, as we make our New Year's resolutions, you know what should be at the top of your list: praying the rosary every day. And as you do, recall the solicitude of Mary for even the smallest details. If she ensured that our Lord provided the second course of wine at this wedding feast, what will she not do for you, her children, when you ask? In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.